Okay, I want to welcome all to this podcast. We're calling it the Anti-Aging Podcast. I have my good friend tonight, Ron Cartmell. Just a little background. Uh, I actually met Ron uh, at a competition in Baltimore because Ron had seen my picture on the cover of a magazine from my age, if you remember Ron. And then Ron just turns out that he had his picture on the same magazine too. So that was a certain bonding component. Actually, maybe not. I think, Ron, I may have.
Well, the way it really went is once I saw yours, I said, "How do I do
How
this?"
do you do that?
You turned me on to Marty, and then I talked to Marty, and long story short, they did a magazine on me. One of the
That's
last few
that.
magazines that the company produced.
So Ron had been for the audience. Ron sort of got into bodybuilding. We'll talk about that on the podcast. Certainly before that I did, and I'll let you go into that whole thing, Ron. Also, I have to tell everybody, Ron also has about 85,000 different businesses that he's involved with. So, and one of them I got to experience. We'll talk a little bit about that, I'm sure, in this podcast too, which is something I would like to do again anyway. Also, Ron is apart from the many things of being a pro bodybuilder and a trainer and a new owner of an incredible gym. I'll let Ron tell you about that. Uh, and But also was a professional football player. Am I correct about that, Ron? You'll talk a little bit about that. And living the dream. So Ron, why don't you tell everybody, where you grew up, and also, obviously, I'd like you to talk about, what made you get into bodybuilding in that sense, and also, well, I'll let you go there, and then I want to bring something else in that I'm going to ask you about, especially now that you have the new gym that you've opened up. So, turn it over to you.
Well, I think my story for bodybuilding is goes a little something like this. Probably about 2013, 2014, I sustained an injury and was told that I had spinal stenosis, and of course that I needed a couple of things I could do. Of course, I tried to go the non-invasive route,
Mm-hmm.
which ended up being going to a specific type of chiropractor that had a kind of a decompression.
Compression machine.
Yeah, and I did that for about a year. Now, upon getting to Dr. Gill's place, I literally, because of this spinal stenosis, could not even pull up my underwear. A year later, I was stronger, I was fit, and I was referred to a um, personal trainer of sorts to try to work on strengthening my auxiliary muscles, to strengthen my muscles around my back area, to work on my core. And as I did that, the guy that was training me said, "You have an athletic build. Have you ever thought about bodybuilding?" Well, I said hee ha ha because I was about 54 years old then. So I said, "Well, I think I'm a little bit too old for that." And he said, "No, you have the symmetry, you have the drive because you work real hard during our workouts. We need to take it on as though you're going to compete."
Mm-hmm.
So he says, if nothing else, you'll just get an excellent workout and you'll get better condition and you'll shape your body. You'll have a new look. I said, okay, no big deal. Well, so away we went. But for some reason, we fell out on some other issues having to do with another business that I have. He felt that his advice should be worth hundreds of thousands of dollars, and I said, well, I'm giving you several gratuities, but that's not going to be one of them. So, long story short, I was on my way to training as though I was a bodybuilder. So I asked a friend of mine if he could recommend me another coach. He recommended me a coach that was a bodybuilder and power lifter.
Mm-hmm.
So approximately a year or so later from that very encounter, I was on the circuit with him powerlifting. I was doing bench press. I was doing deadlifts. So I went from not being able to lift my underwear to having a record at age 50 something of almost 500 plus pounds.
Incredible.
So we continue. So my contingency is I wanted to bodybuild, but I had always heard that bodybuilders just picked up little weight and did lots of reps. I wanted to be a strong bodybuilder. So the combination of powerlifting and bodybuilding met my requirements.
Did you do any powerlifting competitions or anything like that, or no?
What is that?
Did you do any competitions related to
several.
At that point?
Several. Yeah, Kentucky Muscle. There's one called Big Bastard powerlifting meet in right here in Tennessee. Yeah, we traveled several different places and did powerlifting, and I never got beat.
No kidding.
I never got beat, and I
didn't know that about you.
I continued to excel, and to the point that my final lift in my final meet was a deadlift of I had to beat 490 pounds, and my coach. So you get 3 lifts in deadlift. So my coach actually put 400 pounds on the bar for my very first lift.
Wow.
So I did that with ease. And then he pulled me off and said, we're going to make a big jump. I know you can do it. He put another 100 on.
Wow.
And I got it. And then to top it off, he said, well, we'll just kind of polish that. I think they put 25 more pounds on there. And I ended up with a lift of 525 pounds and blew the former champ just out of the water, just out. So that's fun. I have a dream right now. So my dream then was to deadlift 500 pounds and go to my first competition as a bodybuilder. Mm-hmm. So now that I have done that and obtained the status of IFBB Pro, I would love to go back and pull a 600 before I stop. Now, when I pulled the 500, I had an injured leg. So, this might be the first time that I could ever go deadlift and get it back and have 2 pretty solid legs. So I would like to do that before I totally
give it all up.
Give it up. Yeah. I'll never give it all up, but I mean, just in terms of lifting that heavy.
So do you have like a timeline that you want to do that
August.
Oh, this coming August?
Yes.
No kidding. Wow.
I now possess the facility to train as long as I want. So
I think so. That's amazing.
Yeah.
Wow.
So away I went. So, you just say 2014 till, of course, you and I were together at the last time I competed, and that was Daytona.
Daytona.
Yeah. So a nice 10, 11 year stint. Um, and now I'm putting Humpty together again. I just did my meniscus surgery
Oh,
from
I remember you said, right?
and
So,
I was scheduled to do my shoulder, but they told me I needed a hip replacement. But I did go to the hip doctor the other day, and he says, as long as you're not dragging it like Chester from Gunsmoke, I wouldn't worry about it. When it gets that bad, then you may need to do something.
so what about your lifting with your shoulders? Are you concerned about that or not really?
You know what? I just need to get orthoscopic on that. I just need to get my shoulder cleaned out. It hampers me a little bit.
Mhm.
I think what I need to do is not try to lift the house anymore. If I could just lift a moderate weight, I think I'd be fine. So
Wow, that's quite a
we
goal.
went up to 95 pounds on the dumbbells tonight, um, uh, for chest. Um, I was unsuccessful mainly because of my shoulder, but I mean, we're still getting a little bit crazy. I mean, we were repping out at 60 and 70 and 80, and we did that jump, but it was a little bit out of my range. But I will try it again.
I'm sure you will.
But I did wrap. I did use arm wraps. I didn't just
You didn't
because I'd
just go
blown
with
out my arm before, so I needed to protect it. So again, I'm training with a bunch of young guys, 27, 28, 30, and so again, I get in there and pretend like I'm one of them and forget all about a
well,
grandpa.
I hear you. Yeah, but they must, I'm sure they're very enamored by you,
Oh yeah. Oh
what you
yeah.
do, right?
It-
These guys do these gentlemen that you train, do they compete at all or not really?
no, I have. Oh, here's what's happening in there. We're lifting so much weight. They want me to put together a powerlifting team, and they all
Oh,
want to
a
do that.
powerlifting team.
So I think I want to do that, and that's where I'm going to try to get my 600.
Also, remember that, Marty Gallagher's a perfect guy to talk to about that stuff because he knows all about it. That's for sure.
Well, I may do that. I do have one guy that wants to do physique. He's a monster, um, but he hates to work legs. That's why he wants to do physique. But up top, he's good. He's got a gut he needs to get rid of. But he's a pro motorcycle racer.
Oh, really? Well,
Yeah. But he's gotten into the bodybuilding, so he really wants to do it.
so I'm sure they've asked you a million questions about competing, being a
Oh, a
pro,
million,
right? All that stuff. That's pretty neat.
a
That's
million.
pretty neat. I have it's kind of like, I go to the gym and these guys come up to me and ask me, they say, "Do you mind if we ask how old you are?" I don't mind at all. I tell them. He said, "Really?" I said, "Yeah, I still compete too. I mean, there's never, you can do anything you want to do, if you put your mind to it." But
I guess one thing I finally accepted is when people call me Mr. or Sir. Um, I had a hard time with that because I just wanted to be Ron, but the more I talk to people, it's like it's a sign of respect.
that's
Or
a
they
side.
call me they call me OG. But I can be anywhere and they'll open the door or they're just regardless of how gangster they may be, they show respect.
Side of respect.
Yeah. I guess they say anybody that looks that, is in that much shape and I know he's old, I, I gotta give props to him.
No, he's just old. Old. You're young. You're younger than
Yeah.
I am. But look, our age, we're the new 40-year-olds.
I agree.
Remember, we're the super agers.
I agree.
Super agers. I want to ask you this question. Being also involved in the health field and also being a nurse and whatever, and in the opening of your gym, uh, how do you see the lifestyle in its relationship to, let's say, anti-aging? Your feeling about all of that. You know what I mean?
Well, you know, from a healthcare perspective, it's all about health and wellness. It's all about, you know, especially when you get middle age, it's about maintenance. I mean, you know, your aftermarket products aren't as good as the real thing. So the idea of educating somebody how to maintain this body and how to get the maximum output from your body is where I focus. And that's really kind of the forefront of unique fitness. It's talking to somebody about the complexities of their particular situation. What I mean by complexities is I like to know about uh, their family lineage. Okay, you're in here because you have hypertension. Does your mom have hypertension? Does your father have hypertension? Does your grandparents? That information can help me assimilate a nutritional plan, even an exercise plan that's going to accommodate them. I don't do a standardized protocol, but I talk to them specifically about their health. I ask, are they so somebody coming in to Unique Fitness is going to get an MSQ, which is kind of a screening tool to let me know about all of their body parts, aches and pains, stiffness. I like to get their labs because I like to look at their blood work. Eventually, I'm going to get an in-body scan, which looks at, you know,
Yeah.
visceral fat and the BMI and all that. I want to do that. And those three pieces of information, then I go ahead and take their measurements and take before pictures. All of that information creates a baseline by which we construct a plan to take them to the next level,
That's great.
which is health and wellness, which is so we can get good quality through the aging process. And so I have people that are coming in with issues. I met a guy on Friday who's 500 pounds. Well,
Wow.
he definitely needs to see me. I met a guy today who's 400 pounds. I told him he needs to see me. Um, um, and that's just obesity. I'm dealing with a lot of ladies that are in the menopause thing,
Yeah.
Hashimoto's, diabetes type 1, you know, and as well as just clinical obesity. So I'm trying to bring about health and wellness. Where bodybuilding comes in for me with this venture is there was the old adage that you can never spot build or spot reduce. But the truth of the matter, Doc, is that's what we do as bodybuilders.
Right.
If your chest is small, then you work on your chest. If your calves are small, then you work on your calf. So we are spot building. Um, and we're eating to live, not living to eat. So it's all a lifestyle.
So that's it.
And
So,
so what I want them to say is we're creating a new lifestyle.
so that's
So
what.
that's how it all ties together. We have a private studio, so it's 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 more uh accommodating to those people that are uh inhibited, that aren't really external type of people. It's a non-judgment zone because everybody's in there for a purpose. I don't want those people just to come in there, sit on the end of a bench and play TikTok because you know, it's not that kind of place. It's come in, let's take care of business. We're offering yoga and Zumba
So it's great.
and you know, I do a boot camp on a strength boot camp every Saturday morning. And then I do one, I do a strength class. In fact, that's what I left tonight at 7. So we're trying to give them a variety
Range of
of
things.
disciplines in a safe environment.
That's great. So you have obviously you have trainers that you've brought in already.
I have trainers that I'm training. That's where we are now. We're trying people. We've had some that have come in and run classes that really didn't meet my
Expectations.
my expectations.
Hmm.
Uh, So that's where we are now. So I'm the primary trainer now. I've interviewed several people. I've got some new people coming in this week that have been highly recommended. Rhonda said what we needed to do about the classes is go look at some of these trainers in their habitat and see if it's somebody that would fit in ours.
Yeah, that's awesome. So I'm sure you're getting busier and busier and busier already. It just opened up.
Well, I kind of do 6 a in the morning till about 9. Then I come home and change and go to healthcare. And then I leave healthcare about 4:30 or 5 and come back home and try to get a meal in and be back there at 6. And stay from 6 till I left today a little bit early at 8:30 so I could be here for 9. So our hours will be 6 to 12 midnight, Monday through Saturday.
Okay, 6. Wow.
And then 1 through 1 p.m. to 10 on Sunday.
Wow. You're a
There
busy
are a lot of
guy.
there are a lot of places here that don't stay open past 10.
You don't have, does your gym have, you don't have like a,
It goes in next week, keyless entry.
what was, tell me to say that again?
You know, the keyless entry where there doesn't have to be anybody in there. They can
Oh
swipe.
yeah, the key, yeah.
Yeah.
You have a juice bar or anything like that in your, you have
No,
your,
I mean, we really don't have the space to do it. These are thoughts for when we grow out of this place and get more space. We could definitely do that. Um, do you remember Charles, my trainer from Atlanta?
yeah.
He just went to Japan and got a cryotherapy machine.
Oh really? Well, it's a big thing.
So he's going to do cryotherapy. He's going to do red therapy.
Yeah, red light therapy.
Yes.
That's
So I want to do both of those as well. So I'm going
yeah,
to
we
need,
have one of those in our office.
yeah, I have one of those in my office, but I want one in the gym.
That's awesome.
How long do you have somebody stand in front of it when you use it?
Depends, we're able to test people, but in general, could be 10 minutes, 8
Yeah.
minutes,
Okay.
12 minutes, like
Yeah.
that.
Okay.
It's not,
Yeah.
you know, um,
And it works on the mitochondria, right?
oh yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. So yeah.
All the pro teams have it now, and it's been very beneficial for inflammation, fat breakdown, fat loss, lots of things. Mitochondria, as you said,
Yeah.
very powerful, very effective. Also, I would highly recommend you mention the InBody machine. As you know, we have one, and it's a great, great tool, not only for our own training, but for our clients to really
Yeah.
monitor.
Yeah.
Because when you show them, a line, and then their visceral fat is up here, they can't. It's like, and to show them the inflammation markers, and you show them that they're dehydrated, and they can't argue with that. You either make a change or you don't. It's not going to change. But and then people really get into it. Oh, I want to get in there. I said, well, you just did it 4 days ago. I mean, yeah, but I want to see again. It's a tremendous tool. It really is. It's been really.
I can't wait to get one. I can't wait.
It's great. It's very, very accurate too. But so. Look, I think it sounds to me that your gym that's the sky's the limit. You can implement. You'll be state of the art. Everybody will want to do what you do.
Well, my business partners are always already thinking about, if we do this right, we could franchise it. I mean, I don't know about all of that, but I'd like to have a little bit more space to where I could really do some stuff.
You will.
So,
So why don't you do this, Ron? Why don't you let everybody know how to get a hold of you, where you are, and your email, and then that'll be part of it. We'll get that out to everybody and go from there.
well, I'm in Hendersonville, Tennessee. my phone number is area code 615
Mhm.
405 9993. I already got an Alzheimer's number there, so I can remember that 9993. My email address is my company address, company email, which is Ron, RON, at T as in Tom, B as in boy, A as in Apple, A as in Apple, H as in house, C as in car.com. So that's Touched by an Angel Healthcare. And that's my email address.
Awesome.
So that's kind of how you can reach me. You know, love to hear from folks, regarding bodybuilding, regarding, being in Tennessee, wanting to find a gym to train at, or just, asking questions, relative to bodybuilding, relative to health and wellness. I guess especially just the secret of how Doc and I are the super agers. Because I remember being very, very young and calling everybody Mr. and Sir and thinking 60s just decrepit. And now, I'm there and beyond, and I don't feel decrepit. So I just take it one at a time. What's that?
You certainly don't look it, that's for sure.
But thank you. I'm back in my zone, man. I having that knee bother, I couldn't be as agile, but I started cardio back this week in the morning. And so, Rhonda preps my meals. She still does that like she did when I was competing, and picking back up the water. So I want to, I'm training as though I'm getting ready to compete because I'm the billboard for my company.
So let me ask you a question before we end the podcast. Do you, apart from the powerlifting that you're going to do you see yourself coming back and compete and doing a bodybuilding show again?
Oh yes, when I turn 70, I'm coming back. I'm coming for you.
How old are you now again?
67.
We got a few years to go here, Ron.
But you know what,
Ron? I may be in the 30-year-old class by then. You understand what I'm saying? I'm going the other way. So it's your fault that I got into men's physique anyway. But hey, Cam, why don't you?
hey, not only did you get into men's physique, but the first show that you did, you used my music.
That's right, Maxwell.
Maxwell.
That was great. I mean, because
that was fantastic.
I was dancing. The audience went nuts.
Oh, they loved it.
I thought they did. I don't care.
They're like, who is this? Who is this super ager? What does he know about Maxwell?
He knows a lot because he grew up in Paterson, New Jersey. That's why. He knows. But
let me say something to you.
Go ahead.
I was able to try your Frank Zane equipment out.
Yeah, you were mentioning, and
I like it. I would say that I think for a man it's okay, but if somebody like Christian or Rhonda was going to use it, it's metal, so there might need to be some kind of
padding.
Or some kind of padding, especially around the shoulder area. The padding will do two things. It'll keep it in place because right now you got to it kind of teeter-totters. You got to kind of balance it.
Are you using it in the gym?
No, I've made room so he could possibly bring it back. When I first got over there, I really didn't have any room, but he wanted to bring it over and show it to me, and he did.
We have to just make a date to drive down and get it, which is what, but he could always make another one too.
I probably will.
This is what Zane was using.
Yeah, I probably will do that.
That's what he was using.
That's crazy.
And in his, but I don't know. It's an amazing process. The whole thing, it really is. I mean,
before we close, let me say this. I I appreciate our friendship and the direction that we have both moved towards. Doing the magazine, meeting Marty, uh, doing the book. I mean, these are all things that have really kind of surfaced because of your openness to share things that you're doing. Um, uh, Rhonda and I continue to rave about just hanging out in Daytona
Yeah,
together. I mean,
that
yeah,
was great.
we've never done anything like that. So that was really,
That
really
was
cool.
great. Would have been nice if the sun was out a little bit, but it was okay.
Yeah, it was
But
okay.
it was still
But
cool.
and maybe we could have got the television to work a little bit better, but outside of that,
But then I have to end this. I have to end this podcast with this too. So I mentioned at the beginning one of Ron's many businesses is Ron. Ron puts on car shows around the United States and rents the whole track out. So one of the things that he features, which I had no idea what it was prior to me checking it out, was drifting, right? Am I saying it?
yeah, drifting.
Drifting, where a professional driver gets you in the car and you sit next to him and you go around the track with him sliding back and forth close to the wall, and then another car comes out, and then another one, and another one. And it was the most, I probably never held on to anything so tight in my whole life that I did in that. But it was one of the most exciting things I ever did because in the time frame, it goes so fast. I got out of the car and said, well, when can we do this again? So,
Right. Everybody says that, but you got out of the car like a teenager.
oh,
You were jumping and you were
oh,
just so
it's great.
excited.
It was great.
Yeah.
Let's do that again.
I was glad I was able to get
Oh, that
well,
was awesome.
but you remember I put you in a yellow shirt. I had you working too.
I love that. I
Yeah.
would love to do that. That's why you can. I'll do that anytime you want me to do that.
Import Alliance has been very, very good to me. It's a way to bring about a venue for car enthusiasts that's safe and controlled. And what you would have liked when we went to Atlanta the last time, Doc, is we were cleared to have people sign waivers and drive on the speedway following a pace car.
No kidding. Wow.
And you want to talk about excitement. People were up there in cars, trucks, motorcycles,
Following
and the
wow.
embankment is almost straight up and down. It's almost horizontal. So you got to remember that those cars are traveling at such a high rate of speed that they stick to that pavement.
Yeah.
But on the other hand, if you tried to walk up to the fence, you probably couldn't do it without falling.
Couldn't do it. It's amazing. When's
So
your
we
next show?
hope to have you. I hope to have you at many, many more shows. In fact,
I want
our
to come.
next
I want
show
to
is
do.
July.
Now I want to do a drag race. That's another thing I want to do in the car.
Well, you can come up to Bowling Green and we'll put you in a drag
I
car.
want to drag down to the light.
We can do that.
You
know the person that can make it happen.
Yeah, you.
That's right.
So why don't we say this one? I just kind of it would be. I'd like to do more of these podcasts with you, and then, I just had some ideas. I mean, there's a lot of things that we can talk about too to the audience about. Whether it's putting on muscle at an older age, or there's all kinds of things that we can discuss. So so Ron and I are gonna make a commitment to have more of these podcasts and bring up more topics of interest, especially from what I see going on out there. So my friend, with that being said, let's end it, and you know how to get a hold of Ron at this point, and he's the man. So terrific.
Well, back at you, Doc. I thank you for this opportunity, and I will talk to you soon.